let's not waste your time. We've been doing this game dev business for over 2 years at this point with the YouTube channel and hundreds of videos. Is BiteMe Games doing as well as you thought as you would at this stage? Finances wise and also game quality wise. That's a question we got a lot. We've got like a lot of similar questions. So today's video, we're gonna do another Q&A. We're not only gonna talk about money, but this was something that a lot of people were interested in. So Thomas, as our CEO, how do you think BiteMe is right now? How do you feel about the current state that we're in?
I think the current state is fine, as in for the last 9 months-ish or longer, I don't know the exact number. We've been earning enough so you guys can get paid basically, which is a big improvement from the first time.
But did you expect this? Or did you expect us to kind of fail?
I expected us to succeed. I expected us to maybe do it quicker even, but I think all of us got a harsh reality check that it's not all sunshine and roses, and it's actually hard to, make this work. First of all, it's really hard to do this on your own. And second of all, we're like 3 people, but 2 of them get paid. So that means basically we need to make enough for 2 people. And that's already another challenge, I think. Yeah. Where are we doing game-wise?
Game quality-wise.
Game quality-wise?
Yeah.
I think that's a really harsh one because we've made so many different games. And I think depending on the release, our quality varies.
Yeah, because also it's like, do you make, what defines a quality game? Because for like, I think, if you look at game reviews, yes, we've made quality games. Yeah, but if you look at you guys' sentiments, we are the devil incarnate, and we're basically the next EA.
Yeah, and it's hard to judge that, because for example, how would you judge a unicycle pizza on game quality when you know it's been a 1-month project?
And it's
really quality for that 1 month. Is it the best game ever made? Well, maybe, but probably not.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there was we're gonna get so many side tangents. I once saw a review of a game, Order 13, and they had a video review, or like, some channel made a review about them, it was pretty big, and it started by saying this is a bad game, like in the title, which is like, ouch. And then the publisher came in and like made a comment of like, yeah, but you need to understand that this is made in a 3-month period of time and the team worked really hard.
I don't think it's an excuse.
I think that indeed was kind of letting the emotions get to you, because I think at no point can you to go back to the point of like, you cannot use development time as an excuse for game quality.
Yeah.
Where you're like, yeah, is it fair to judge it because it's a month long? Well, whether it's a month, like you still have this as the result. You're still charging money for it.
And I still think the result is fine. That's why I don't want to use ever, basically, or our dev cycle time as an excuse.
Yeah, to be like, because Kyoto Anomaly was also made in 5 weeks. And like, technically, bug-wise, there's less than in Unicycle Pizza Time, for example. But it's different to compare those things. I think quality-wise, you can at least, maybe you may disagree that our games are quality, but I think you cannot disagree with the fact that our games have been getting better. Are they 10 out of 10 masterpieces? Maybe not. But they are, if you look at the evolution over the past 2 years, drastically improving. Even like the games that we ended up canceling for like game design reasons and whatever, even they had a certain bar of quality, I think. And I think part of that is also just because at the end of last year, basically, I think like my New Year's resolution was, let's just stop making bad games. Or like at least have a higher bar for ourselves of this qualifies
as good enough.
As good enough, yeah. Where I'm gonna call you out. I think a lot of our audience does not want to face that, of be like, this is the bar we need to reach. And instead they're like, this is my baby, I'm gonna put it on Steam, and then you look at it and it's like, my dude, you have an AI generated capsule art and you have no lighting in your scene.
Maybe to add on that, I also think that for YouTubers we're doing great. It sounds a bit BM maybe, but I think a lot of YouTubers, their quality is pretty low. And I think we are definitely above average already. And I also think that we still have much more to learn.
I think now do we have, because of this, it has just evolved into the tooting our own. We're game development YouTubers.
We're one of the few that earn more money from making games than making videos.
And we still release games in a regular cadence.
95% or more, arbitrary number. Don't know. But like a lot of people that do game dev YouTube earn more money from YouTube than from the game dev. And I think for a while we've been an exception to that, and I think that's really what sets us apart, and I also like it.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that we're rich from game dev.
Oh no, by far
that's not. A different thing as well. It's not like you're either Jonas Tyroller or you're Danny, and there's no in between.
Yeah.
It's like there's more to it.
Yeah.
Are we doing great right now?
We're doing all right.
Meh, but we're not that doomed. And brings me to the follow-up question. What does your current runway look like? How long can you currently last before needing another reasonably successful game in order to keep at it? What kind of release cycles are your current projects on? I think runway-wise, right now we are near infinite. I think the biggest runway thing is just that at some point we'll probably get sick of not having, like, maybe at some point I'm like, I kind of do want my Lamborghini or something.
Yeah,
where
or
I'm
just
like, I'm
you
gonna
want to
go
buy
back.
a house, for
yeah,
example.
like, as long as we are kind of at the current quality of life and like current goals of life, we can do this for a long time. But you know, if you're getting a kid, you're not buying diapers with the current game dev money we have and whatever like that. So I think that's going to be more of the runway limiting factor than the actual financial thing. It's like we're making enough to survive, but if you want to do certain things in life, like, oh, I want to go on, you know, normie things, like I want to go on a 3-week vacation once a year or whatever to some fancy place, like, you know, like go and road trip the US if you're not from the US and whatever, then it gets harder because that's half your like yearly income as a game developer that you just put away to that. But I think otherwise runway we're doing fine. What kind of release cycles are our current projects on? We're not going to leak too much because I think we've realized that our toxic trait is talking too early about our games, and then it's like
we start a prototype. It's like this is our next game, and then 2 weeks later we're like, oh yeah, we canceled it because it was a bad prototype.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, BiteMe keeps canceling games. So I think right now we're working on 3 games. One of them we can talk about, the Maid Cafe one. We've talked
one is
about
already public.
A lot before, but we knew that this was going to be a longer scope project. I think we're looking end of this year release.
And I think that the 2 others, one is a short scope.
Yeah, one was a short scoped one, kind of in the style of a unicycle pizza time to get like that quick W, to see like, can we do this again? Because we had a good idea and then we prototyped it, it was fun. And it's more of like right now in level design purgatory that I just need to make the level for, but mechanically it's mainly done. When it will come out, I'm not giving you any promises. And then the third one is one you're working on now.
Big secret.
Big secret. I think that one is gonna be next year or something. Yeah, most likely.
Like, we talked about this earlier this week. I'm like, we probably can finish it this year, and then it's like maybe it's best to release it later then. Yeah, because so we have some spacing from our other game.
And then Next Fest.
And Next Fest.
Yeah, because I asked you like, can we do the October Next Fest, and you're like, probably not. And then it's like, I think we should immediately just delay until after the February Next Fest, because it's just. Yeah. We need all of the marketing we can get. It's kind of part of this like approach change that I have. Like, we're gonna make good games starting in 2025. Like, let's not just make a game and then instantly rush it out without trying marketing, like what we did with Unicycle Pizza Time. Yeah,
because like we can probably make October, but then it's not in the quality that we probably want.
Yeah, and then it's like you have a demo that's not deep enough, and we've already wasted the one Next Fest slot on it, and it's kind of like, you know. Then why we're not practicing what we preach of like, here's how you market your game. It's a great video, by the way.
And I think the project we're currently working on, I think Maid Cafe Simulator, I told this to William like yesterday or something, is in my opinion the highest possible like revenue that we can have from a game since Forge Industry. I think they're kind of tight ID-wise, and I think just one step below that is the game that I'm working on.
Yeah, because
it's also a very
You think
Steam
it's also
catered.
part because of its both of them being larger scope games?
Larger scope games, sure, but also just because both games we're working on are really catered to the Steam audience. Mm-hmm. That's why I think it has quite a bit of potential.
Yeah, and then add on to that you can charge more than $4 for the games also just makes it easier, because you have to sell 1/3 of the amount of copies or whatever. Yep. I think, we can last a while, and that has allowed us to now not have to worry immediately like, oh shit, like for example with Overtime Anomaly, it didn't perform as well as we expected. We now have to crank out a Kyoto Anomaly basically to kind of recoup a bit of the losses. I think right now we're surviving a bit more. Next question, is there something in your game development journey that you regret?
All the wasted time on cancelled games.
That's a good answer.
That's the most easy one, I guess. Mm-hmm. And if I had to say one game in specific, it would probably Guild Architect.
Like having spent so much time on it.
Yeah, because we spent like 6 or 7 months on it.
Yeah.
And that's a really long time.
It's 25% of our company's existence, basically.
Yeah,
that we spent on that.
And I still think Guild Architect is a good concept. And also think if we fleshed it out a bit, we could actually make it today. I just don't think that we should because the scope is too big. And there were a lot of issues then. We also had interns back then, and then
yeah,
I don't regret the interns. Maybe you do.
I don't regret it, but I don't want to do it again.
Yeah,
it's kind of the thing. I regret, like, you know, mainly not that they weren't good to us, but I feel like we didn't have much to offer to them at the end of the day.
They just chugged along, basically.
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't really teach them or give them anything cool because they were like artists and we're like, we're all programmers, what are we gonna do?
It's not like we had like a senior artist that could like, you know, take them under their wing and like help them with it. It's like, yeah, you're the lead artist now, good luck. Which is not ideal, I would say.
Because like day one they were like, what was it, Art Bible or something? They were like, cool, didn't know that was a thing, but cool.
Keep going. So
sure.
This is, if you're looking for internships, do not send us emails because we're not doing them anymore.
Well, we have 200 employees, surely we can find someone.
You want to have 200 employees? That's okay, I have a Q&A question.
I know what you do.
That is not in this. What do you think the future of BiteMe looks like? This is my question to you. How do you see BiteMe in 5 years?
I want BiteMe to have more people, but not scale up dramatically. I want to keep it close. Like right now it's really easy to work because we're all just friends, there are no like hard commitments, all those things, nothing too corporate. I like that. I also think that William needs that and likes that. I also think you like it because otherwise you couldn't move to Japan. So I think the structure we have now is great. Yeah. The only thing that we need is either freelancers or someone internally that does art, I think.
So you're looking at like 1 or 2 bonus people basically. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think we need to
scale. You don't want 200
scale.
people?
Maybe in more time, but right now that's not the goal.
Yeah.
I think first we need to develop our own skills, our own game dev skills, before we can start leading 200 people that have the same or even better skills than us. And I think if we keep going like we're doing now, I'm pretty sure, or I at least believe, I'm not sure of course, that we will definitely hit a home run in the coming years. Yeah. If that's Made Cafe Simulator, it's the
other
whatever the 2 other games are, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that we at some point will hit a home run because I really think we are constantly improving. Yeah. And I think that's also not something that everyone can, like, I think that's one of our strengths. It's how fast we evolve basically. Because if you look at Forge Industry day 1, then half a year later, then half a year later, and then till release, it's a massive improvement. But even then, we didn't stop there.
It took 18 months to get from start of Forge Industry to release of Forge Industry, and basically in the next 18 months, we released 4 more games.
Yeah.
Because we're now at the 2-year anniversary of Forge Industry, like it was...
Yeah, in July.
And we're at the 1-year anniversary, basically, of Unicycle Pizza Time, which is also very...
Yeah.
That one came way faster, I feel. I feel old.
Yeah, I think it feels faster because we did so much more.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we didn't just spend it all on one project.
Between Forge Industry and Unicycle Pizza Time, we had Songs of Nevermade
and Guild Architect.
And we canceled both.
Yeah, and we worked.
So we basically went
on...
a year and a month, because it released in August, right?
Yeah.
Without a release. So we basically did nothing. I don't know what we did. That's why I think like the growth we had is really good. Especially since we had a slump year, let's just call it, in 2023 then, I guess.
Oh yeah, where we didn't really release anything. Yeah, because Unicycle Pizza Time was our second game.
Yeah, like it really revitalized, I think, the company and the way we view certain things. And now, okay, Unicycle Pizza Time is one extreme, Forge Industry maybe another, 18 and 1 month. It's like quite a bit of difference. And I think now we're aiming somewhere in the middle.
We're trying out different of, you know, we did the 4 month, now we're looking at like the 7-ish month.
Yeah, but we also still did the short scoped one. Yeah. Like we're not betting everything on one game basically right now.
I think, okay, this was kind of a similar question. I should have asked it together. Are there any opportunities that you guys missed and wish you had capitalized on? Which is kind of similar to regrets, but kind of different still as well.
Yeah, the opportunity was there for us to make Banana before Banana made it.
Yeah, but we didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I'm not really sure.
I sometimes do feel this. Of
on
like,
which?
Because I feel like I'm getting a pretty good idea of like what works on Steam and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I look at like for example, I talked to you about this. I came up with the idea for Peak 1 week before Peak Shadow dropped. I pitched it to like William and we were like, yeah, but we're kind of, you know, full on this right now. I feel like it's been, I can't come up with other examples, but I feel like it's been 2 other times where I was like, you know, I go to like these industry conferences as well, where you kind of get like a slightly early access thing. Because once, I'm gonna say this, once a guy on YouTube is like talking about like, oh, this is the next new hype for game development, it's already kind of too late. It's kind of like, the moment that the news is starting to talk about crypto, like, the TV news, it's too late to buy crypto basically, because if everyone knows it at that point, And I think there were a few opportunities where we could have maybe capitalized on it, or maybe like, having found a good sequel to Unicycle Pizza Time. But it's like, there's no point in regretting it because it's been so long now.
But also, you say capitalizing on something like Unicycle Pizza Time, sure, but...
I mean more of like, how I came up with the idea for Unicycle Pizza Time, why I started thinking about it, was because I went to develop Brighton, and the whole zeitgeist there was the concept of friend swap was just getting introduced. Like Murky Divers had just hit the market. I think Content Warning wasn't even out yet or had just come out. And the general industry was like, okay, this is gonna be the next big thing. And I was like, okay, we just add co-op and we have our unicycle. And it's not exactly friend swap, but it's kind of based on that. And I think if we would have made another, like, more lethal company, I think we could have hit it very big because we would have been one of the first ones to market. I see people make friend swap and lethal company likes now. And I think now it's getting harder, I would say.
Yeah.
Where you can still make them, but they need to have a way higher bar of quality.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing with the industry always, because Balatro releases and
everyone makes
something like a Balatro, but now it's with poker or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And if you're
poker, no?
Yeah, but like there's like blackjack or there's slot machines, and it's like if you're the first one to like get the inside scoop of being able to see like, hey, this is gonna be the next big thing. I think there can be certain value and be like, if you are confident, which I think I can be at this point, is like, okay, we should kind of, maybe it makes sense to drop everything and focus on this right now. But I don't have any like other big points like this.
Next up is a question that asks if, do you think that the market is cooling off to indies, or is the field just getting more crowded?
I want to see your opinion, because you're kind of out of the indie sphere to a certain degree. You have your programmer cave.
Yeah, in general, I think for sure it's getting more crowded because more releases on Steam. I also think that there's more slop on Steam though, or more bad games. So the amount of good games being released is still the same as it was a couple of years ago, or like maybe a bit higher, whatever. Yeah. I don't think that the market is immediately cooling down to indies. I just think it's more crowded and there's a lot more noise and a lot more people that try to chase their dreams, but just don't have the skills, time, or want to put in the effort, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't think the market is cooling down to indies, but I think what is happening is the market is cooling down to certain indie-friendly genres, where it's easier for you to make a roguelike deck builder than a Souls-like. And inherently making an indie Souls-like is an oxymoron, I would think, where it's like, you're not doing it, despite what all the devlogs on YouTube are like, I'm gonna start making it. It takes so much more effort. Whereas making a roguelite, making a deck builder, making an incremental game that takes a 4-hour experience or whatever, those are things that you as an indie developer can do. And I think certain of those genres are getting, less, like those are being cooled off. But I don't think indie gaming in general is cooling down. I think it's just going back, I guess, knowing what to make. And I think just, making what worked 5 years ago, that's gonna be cooled down off. But I don't think in general that indie gaming altogether is doomed. The problem is just that you need to make better games because there's just more people making games now. And to a certain degree, 50% of the people aren't even trying. But the other 50% of developers, they're really trying their goddamn best to make successful games and to make good games. And that's getting a bit harder to compete with those, especially if once again, you don't have like the humility to be like, maybe this is not a great game. And then, go to our gamedev and then be like, I just launched my game. I don't know why I only have one review after a week. And it's like, because
it's an F-tier game.
It's an F-tier game indeed. So I think that's more of the issue. I don't think you're doomed. I think you just need to make better game.
I think in general, unless Steam drastically changes in the coming years, indies will always survive. Or well, not survive, but have a chance to survive.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the market is cooling down, because overall, Steam is, out of all the platforms out there, pretty
benevolent.
Yeah, just keep going. And if you just heard what I said if Steam's not changing rapidly, so better release your goddamn game really soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, is it gonna get easier? I don't think it's gonna get easier. But I don't think it's gonna be doomed. Yeah. But like, yeah, probably this is a different conversation in 2030 or something, but the best time to release is probably sooner rather than later.
Do you think in time, I'm getting sidetracked once again, so a lot of games are now going for the live service approach or doing things like...
I feel like there's not like
big games.
Yeah, big games.
Like the large studios is what I mean. Like things that Fortnite started with, like real life events in games and so on.
You have like Marvel Rivals where like they focus a lot more on like UGC and all of that.
Yeah, all those things. Do you think that the new generation will play less indie games? We are, I think, getting old.
I think what a lot of people forget is that they're also different people. Like, you know, it's like there's like guys who have never touched a PC to begin with. They work their 12-hour shift in the factory, they're 45 years old or something, they go home, they just want to start up the PlayStation. And then they play Marvel Rivals. Or the alternative is like the 30-year-old office lady who just wants to play her Love and Deep Space or whatever. I don't think they will immediately overlap where it's like, oh, the live services games are stealing away the indies.
No,
I think to a certain degree it may be the opposite.
But do you think the audience, there's going to be an audience shift basically, because the longer you go, statistically, the older you get, the less games you play.
Yeah.
Because you have family, you have other duties, whatever, and then new young people come.
Yeah.
But they never grew up with the things that are often now associated with indies.
I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I think you're also gonna always have a drop-off of like certain people who get into like Uma Musume or whatever. And then they'll start looking into like other horse racing indie games or whatever, and kind of there's going to be a pipeline between both of them. I think it's not a full lose-lose condition of like either you're full-on live services grind set for the rest of your life, or either you only play like obscure indie games from Steam. I think there's a lot of middle ground in between there. So because you have a lot of people as well where you go to them and they are like, yeah, I love indie games. And then you ask them like, yeah, what do you play? And it's like, yeah, I play Inscription, I play Frostpunk, or like,
League of Legends.
Not League of Legends, but like a lot of, not what we would, like not, like a Satisfactory can be considered an indie game to a certain degree. And that's kind of, you know.
Yeah, in the end, indie just means independent, which means you don't have a publisher.
Nothing.
It means nothing.
Even if you have a publisher, you're still an indie game.
Because what was like Dave the Diver and so on?
Yeah, it's small like, indie game.
And it was like it had millions of funding.
Yeah, because it's Dave the Diver is a spin-off of Crofton, who made Black Desert Online, which is and PUBG as well, which is once again going into those.
Or the
services.
joke I made from League of Legends. It was an indie at some point. It still is technically an indie.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it should be because it has so many employees. Like we already covered this.
Just keep making games.
Just make
just make good games.
No matter what we say in this video, I don't know what you're doing here. Just make games, man.
Yeah. Anyways, bring it back to a question to you. I want to see your opinion on this, because I've been a bit vocal about this in the last few months. Horror versus idler when making a small game. Which one would you do?
I would make an idler.
Okay.
Because in general, I don't like horror. I think you guys knew this the second you pitched the Overtime Anomaly, that I'm not a big fan of it. I can see how it's a great learning opportunity, because I think William learned a lot from Overtime Anomaly, but I just don't like the genre.
Okay.
And I think there are...
But that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Now
I'm very
you need to give advice
biased.
to some viewer who's like, dear Thomas, what should I make?
I honestly would still go for... It depends on your skill set. If you are more artist-like, I would probably go horror. If you're more a programmer-like, I would go for an idler.
You want to know a funny thing?
Yeah.
I would flip those two around.
Really?
If you're more of a programmer, make horror.
The best advice here at BiteMe Games.
If you're more of an artist, I think an idler actually makes more sense. If you think about it, do you see why, or should I explain it?
I think in general, horror
takes less skill from an artistic perspective, because you just grab either a bunch of PSX packs or you grab a bunch of...
Yeah, but for your idler, most idlers have... Okay, not most, but some idlers have deep mechanics.
Yeah.
Because, for example, what is it, the Shop Titans?
Yeah, but
it's an idler, and
those are not the kinds of game we're talking about here. We are talking about games...
Cookie clicker.
Not even cookie clicker. Like there's... Have you been out of the Steam meta for a while? You have games like Tower Wizard. Yeah, like the incremental idler is kind of what this means. Like it's not true idler. I think you want incremental in this case. Okay. I think if you make an incremental game with a very clear, distinct art style.
Yeah, I think that's a fine genre though.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't put it S tier if we ever did our tier list again, but I think it's not horrible.
Yeah, and I think this is more of a thing where the core mechanic is going to be the same more in idler games and in incremental games, called number go up, versus in horror games. And I think if the core mechanic is more similar, you'd have to focus more on the art style, on the visuals and all of that. Like, I think the true giga-shot answer, MD, here is you make a horror idler incremental game, like Click Holding, for example, did. But I think that's going to be a harder one.
Or you just make both. Both are small games. You can release multiple games a year.
Yeah, just make both in a year and then figure out for yourself which one works best, instead of just being stuck on like, should I make this? Should I make this? Should I use Godot? Should I use whatever?
Yeah, I think one of the things we said really early on the channel is don't get caught up in what seem to be quote-unquote stupid choices. Like, for example, we said it for the engine. Just pick one, it doesn't matter. We chose Unity, you don't have to if you don't want to. Just don't pick Godot. And you can pick Godot, it's fine.
And don't spend too much time on it when it's the first thing. Don't do 18 months on your first project like what we did.
I think in general it's important that you just keep moving forward, because earlier I said how I think that what we do well is improve. And I think the only way you can improve is just to try things.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, basically. You will fail, but that's fine. And you just keep going.
And that perfectly segues us into the next question. It seems like you guys make games in a lot of genres rather than sticking to one. Wouldn't it be easier to work on a single genre and make multiple games, essentially building the works of the ones that came before? Or are you still trying to find your genre?
I don't know how it is with you guys, but in general, I like messing around with different genres just because it's a new challenge. Aside from that, I also think that we haven't really found our perfect genre yet. Because, for example, we could keep making one every month, for example, of the anomaly games.
Yeah,
but that's not what we want.
And it's also not a profitable enough genre, so
yeah, I don't think you have to do that. Like, I understand what you say, you can build on top of them, but we, in one way or another, already do that for really generic things. And yes, we could probably speed up development if we kept to the same genre and blah, 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 blah. But I think that at that point, you're talking more corporate-y than passion-y. And that I think that in the end, all of your games, you can see when a game didn't receive love, is what I think. And I think that if you keep going to the same genre, at least I would lose my love for the genre over time.
Yeah, I think it's also just, you need to evolve as well. Where it's like, yeah, maybe this genre was hot shit 5 years ago when you started, and now nobody really cares about it anymore. Nobody really cares about your 2D pixel art, like top-down shoot 'em up or whatever. Whereas 5 years ago, it was the hottest shit ever. And if you're like, I've decided this is my genre and I'm gonna keep working at it, it's like, yeah, no. And people love to bring up Jake Burkett. He's the guy from the GDC talk of, I just made solitaire games for 7 years without a hit. Even he is evolving now. Even he is making less solitaire-focused games because he also realized, hey, we need to look a little bit more at how Steam is changing. And I think that is something where I would rather, try to keep the company alive.
Yeah, keep it alive, sure.
Versus purely being like, this is gonna be our genre and we're gonna keep doing it. Also, we're too young to focus on that one single thing. Because we're two young guys strapping, dashing, and it's like, if we see a shiny new genre, of course we're gonna chase that.
Besides, what I think makes a really good idea for a game is taking a genre and giving it a unique twist. If you keep to the same core genre, damn, you're gonna need a lot of twists.
Yeah, because you can always make a sequel to a game.
Yeah.
But going further than a sequel, that one is often hard.
Yeah, the thing is also with a sequel, why didn't we do Forge Industry 2 yet? Because, first of all, I don't think anyone was like,
we didn't want to do it.
Yeah, no. For sure. But also, you need to improve on it, but you also need to distinguish enough of it. How many sequels from AAA studios do you know that were received worse than the original? Like, for example, Overwatch 2 at launch was horrible compared to Overwatch 1. Everyone hated it. And there are a lot of games like that. If you don't have a good enough reason to make a sequel, I think it's just making yet another FIFA or Call of Duty in my head, which is like, you just repackage the same game, and that's not really what I want to do at this stage of BiteMe.
Now, all of this talk about game design has made me kind of bored because I'm the evil businessman, as you can tell from the start. A question we got: why don't we just sell courses? What if I told you that there's a link down below that is the ultimate Steam framework of all my market insights, and it's like a Telegram group with insider signals of this is the next new hot genre gonna be on Steam. Link down below, only $50 a month, I don't know. In all seriousness, why don't we have courses?
We need to split this up in a couple of things. First of all, the technical courses. Why don't you make a tutorial series like CodeMonkey?
Yeah.
And second of all, maybe, I don't know the good word for it, but
guru influencer courses of
yeah,
basically stuff like marketing, studio survival, where there is an easy way, kind of how I see the distinction, because I've I've considered courses, I've looked into it. You know, a course like a CodeMonkey course, you have a guaranteed result. If you follow his 10-hour Kitchen Chaos course, you're gonna have a game at the end of the day. Easy as that. Like, you will have something. Whereas you can get Chris Zukowski's marketing course, and you can follow every letter in that thing and still end up with 500 wish lists, whilst someone else ends up with 1 million wish lists, because that's like the whole thing of like, oh, it's not my, like, I give you the tools, but you have to do it yourself. It's kind of a different thing. I think that's what you mean with the two styles of courses.
It's what I mean with two styles indeed, because one is more like teaching you something, but that doesn't mean you get a result, and the other one is just, I handhold you to the finish.
Yeah. And it's like, this is how you do game feeling Godot or whatever. It's like very clear, this is what you can expect by the end of it.
Yeah, so for example, why don't we do the more technical with the result like a CodeMonkey? Honestly, because the best host would probably be me, because I know the most technical stuff.
Yeah.
Together with William, but I think William is a bit more shy. And I just think I can spend my time better, and I don't really want to make a course.
It's also because that's not what our channel is about.
Yeah.
The channel, like a CodeMonkey, is aimed at Unity developers. We have a split of, I think, like 40% Unity, and then 25% Godot, 25% Unreal, and then 5% GameMaker, which immediately kneecaps like who wants our stuff, basically. We see this when we upload tutorials and things like that as well.
But also just like, if you look internally, who would do it? And who would want to do it? We have 3 people. I don't want to do it.
We're too busy because we're also making games. We're also making these YouTube things. We actually kind of have a course.
Ah, yeah.
I think we have a really good deal of a course, and it's called our Patreon. That's kind of the in-between. Because why don't I have courses about like gurus and studio management and all of that?
He's a guru.
Because I think it's just, we're not good enough yet. Maybe in 5 years, I'll make one. When I know better how to do it. But I think right now it's like, you know, I don't want to end up like Blackthorn Prot, for example, where you have a course and it's like, I think $400 or something, of like how you can become a full-time game developer. And then they release their game with 3 reviews. And it's like, what are we doing here? Why? I don't want to end up like that. I think the Patreon is like more of an in-between way of, you know, you give us money, sure, but I think you give us a reasonable amount of money. And I think we're at over 100 videos at this point on Patreon. That is often stuff where I consider at a certain point of like, do I just take basically every single Patreon video and then repackage it into a course, and the only thing you would get then is convenience, because that's what a lot of courses are about as well, just having a structured plan to follow start to finish. Because yeah, everything, honestly, there's a shit ton of deep knowledge on Patreon. You just have to find it. And yeah, I know where to find everything, but maybe you don't know that in like this specific video from 6 months ago, there's like the secret tip to get your game on IGN, for example, because that's in there. So that could be something. But I think right now I just don't have the credibility. Like something else I considered once was like a course on like making game trailers for indies who do not have the time to become a full-time trailer editor. Because you have like Daykoo's course, for example. But that is like, you know, that's not aimed at you and me.
Yeah, that's a perfect, how to make the perfect trailer. Where here it's like how to make a good enough trailer when you don't have a shitload of time or money.
Yeah, where my goal would have been more of like, we have exactly one day, you wake up at 7 in the morning and at 7 in the evening or whatever, you have a trailer that's good enough to put on your Steam page, for example. Whereas the Daykoo trailer is more focused of like, you are a professional trailer editor, or you're a publisher who has like an in-house trailer editor, which is a different audience at the end of the day. But once they end, it's like, I don't feel confident enough right now. So maybe once I've made like 3-4 more trailers, maybe I'll make it then. But for now, the best way to get all the deep wisdom is to go to patreon.com/BiteMeGames.
Yeah, every couple of months we discuss, are we going to make a course? And then we're like, yeah, we'll do it. And then it just never happens. And 3 months later, we're like, are we going to make a course?
I think right now we're not planning courses anytime soon. Also, because when we discussed it last time, it was because there was a financial need where we were like, hey, we're not doing too hot right now, where our runway wasn't as long, but we had some good sponsors, for example, in the past few months, which have given us a bit more runway to actually see those longer scoped games to the finish. And that was also like, okay, if we just sell the course, it's easy money, right? Let's say we can sell 5 copies of a course at $200 each. We have a 64,000 subscriber audience. Probably someone will be interested in it. But it's like, yeah, we ended up not doing it. So maybe I'm gonna sell out at some point, make the $1,000 course about running your own profitable game studio. You know, once we make a game that crosses the 100K mark, I'm just gonna make more money on courses. Who knows, but yeah. And then final question, I'm just curious honestly about your answer for this, is what's the dream sponsor? Talking about sponsors, what's the dream sponsor for you to sponsor BiteMe games?
When it gives me a lot of money. That's not a serious answer. Well, it helps.
If that's your requirement, then I would like to now introduce you to Meshi or some other AI generated, like they have a lot of money. Or like an NFT, like Web3, Unity integration, they have a lot of money too.
No.
Fun fact, I do say no to those. I have standards.
Yeah, it's in our pitch deck even. We don't do NFTs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm not sure. It's probably a company, I'm just going to describe it because I don't know one specific company. A company that I already interact with, ideally often, you know, something that I use often. Maybe, that's already a big question mark. What do I use? Unity?
Unity, please sponsor us. I don't know what, but yeah. I think you're more of like, I want the desk. Marnix, can you get a sponsor from FlexiSpot or whatever?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
true story.
Here you go. Here's the desk. I think what I miss the most, because I like
Steam.
What is Steam?
Steam would be my dream sponsor.
What would they sponsor?
I don't think they sponsor anything, but I think that would be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like a sponsorship where we do like, they sponsor some event, whatever, and then we get the entire Steam homepage.
Steam is gonna sponsor BiteCon.
For example. And then on the homepage of Steam, we have like BiteMe Games logo, and then some of our games, and then our audience's games.
I don't think we're gonna be doing that.
Dream sponsor.
You know, it's
final answer.
It's kind of like a bad one, because it's like similar to you, it's like whatever gives more money, but I think it would just be kind of funny. No, trust me, like we're in the game development niche, which is, I'm gonna say it's kind of sponsor starved for the most part. Yeah, we have an Exola, which maybe not everyone likes, but it's not like we have a lot of other options. Whereas I look at like other big streamers, like, you know, the normie gaming streamers and whatever, they get a fucking Toyota Prius sponsored. And I'm like, hello, give me a car, thank you very much. I'll make a video of like doing a road trip and making a game while in the car or whatever. I just like the fun sponsors.
Something out there.
That's just something that's not just like, oh, you want to plug our course program, or like, here's an affiliate code for our assets or whatever. I just have one that is like
a jet ski company that pays you for like going on a day and then making a game on a jet ski, something like that.
Just something where I can be more creative as well. Of like,
that's a fun idea.
I don't just want to. Here's a 30-second sponsor brief and go and talk about it.
Something you could fully integrate.
Yeah, I think that's also like, for example, I do enjoy stuff like being able to do the planetary processing sponsor, where we like make the whole game as like part of the thing.
Yeah, those things I think are cool.
I think they're cool, but I think, you know, you can scale them up way more if you get like bigger sponsors that just traditionally do not.
Like, what is it, streamer events with Red Bull? You mean something like that?
Streamer games, I know.
Or is that too big?
I'm always down for a boxing creator clash between game developers. I think that's gonna be a hard one to sell to any other game developers to want to step in a ring with me, but I don't know, I just want stuff that can make me do creative sponsors instead of just the standard ad read and all of that. But
that's a good answer.
Give me something dumb and I'll make it work. I just want it to be fun, and then just give me something stupid at the end of it. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching. I hope this was an interesting Q&A. We just talked a lot.
I don't want to know how long the video is, but you guys know.
You guys know, yeah. I don't know when we'll do this again. It's gonna be probably sometime. We're not gonna do this for 50K, probably. I don't know what we're gonna do if we get 50K, because it's gonna be still this year, probably.
Yeah, and we're gonna be far apart.
We're gonna be far apart. I'm moving to Japan, so...
And I'm not.
Loser. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching. If you're new here, we make game development videos. Not just like this, we actually talk the hard business. So if that's something you're interested in, or just game design, whatever, basically. We talk about game development. If that's something you're interested in, head down below and subscribe, because you'll be notified whenever we upload these videos. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.